Well, I'm in between driving at the moment, so I try to get a little bit done on the car. Been needing to cut this little piece out to mimic the original 55 for a while. It's been scribed, so let's see if I can cut it out without screwing it up too badly. Yeah, a little sparky, but not too bad. Don't know if I can get all the way down this corner or not. I have to hand do a little bit of it. And just touch right there. I'll further it go there. Switches. Yeah, do the rest of my hand, I think. Yeah, looks like I bumped at least one of my cage nuts. A teeny bit there too, but shouldn't really bother me any. Yeah. Clean up the rest of the stuff and bring you back. More later. Okay, there it is, cleaned up. Bumped the sides of my cage nuts in a couple spots, but not enough to hurt nothing. But the hole looks acceptable. A little bit, I was a little worried about hand doing it. I thought about clamping angle iron on it and stuff, but actually, pretty happy with that. This pretty much ends all the modifications I had to do to the 60 firewall to mimic the 55 firewall. I got a couple more holes over there to weld up from the windshield wiper motor, because the windshield wiper motor mounts over here on the 55. These holes are here. I got to put cage nuts on them when I flip this piece over. But this is the original piece from my car. Cover plate. I'm going to put some guys put a little box behind here and mount like a fuse panel and and relays and stuff. And I may do that. And I add lights and stuff. I like to add relays, and so this is a good place to hide this stuff. and easy enough to do, to make a little box to go in there. They sell them, but man, they awful lot of money for just a little box that I can make easy enough. And, that's all they're doing. Kind of avoiding this little cut. I don't know, it was making me nervous for some reason. Stuff does that to me, so I tend to avoid it for a while. But it's a good time to come back to it, I guess, and finish it. It came out just right. And I got all the proper holes in here for my commission plate. The original one's a little one here. I drilled the holes for the earlier one, my original. Anyway, I'm moving on to motor mounts here next. I got them sitting over on the welding table now that I got the wire feed working nice again with the new insert in the gun. So try to get a little bit of that done before my next road adventure. I guess I could take my camera and take a few shots of my road adventures, but I don't know. Just a job. And make money somehow. Pay for. I haven't bought any parts for this car in a long time, but there's a lot of work to do that I can do for free, so I don't need to really buy anything right now. But there's a few things I want. More later. Here's what happens when you don't pay attention when you're setting stuff up. This is the second one I just welded together. See? Square. Yeah, that proportion at least needs to be 90 degrees from each other so it's flat. The rest of these can be a little bit off, they're just reinforcements. When you're not paying attention. Yeah. Yep, gotta cut these welds and reposition that. I love redoing work. Crap, I wasn't even thinking about it. Yeah, well, I'll bring it back later. Ah! It'll be one of those days. There we go. That's decent enough. Now it's welded to the table right now, but I'll break her loose and gotta do a little more welding on the backside. Yeah, I'm just getting back from delivering it, or I'm taking it into Anchorage, picking up another truck and trailer down in Indiana. And this time I got to go to a place that a lot of you get to go to, but we don't have one in Alaska. So I'll show you what I bought. And here's what I bought. Got me a spot welder finally. Yeah, been wanting one for a while, but to ship one to Alaska, they're awful heavy. There's a couple places that have them up here, but not the 240 volt one. They're all 110 volt ones. So this is my new toy. Sorry about the noise. That's still the heater making noise. But yeah, hopefully it'll work okay. There's been reviews, good, bad, indifferent. So it was only 150 bucks. The ones up here, 250 bucks. Sit you down here. And so it was, yeah, it's cheap enough anyway. Guess if I have to, I can put you on my tripod here. So stand by. So, let's see what it looks like. It's definitely heavy. Of course, I kind of already knew that. And I give you some spare tips. I heard guys have been blunting these for a better spot weld, and I'll probably do the same. Anyway, I gotta go get myself a plug-in, since it doesn't come with one. And I have the big plug on mine. I always use the 50 amp plugs, even though my welder's only 30 amp. So I guess I'll have to get a big old 50 amp plug to hang on there. Anyway, yeah, definitely will need a little bit of alignment and stuff, but no big deal. And we'll take it out for a test drive here shortly. Okay, well, I got a plug-in rigged up on my, I have a 50 amp plug in my shop, so I got to use the bigger plugs, but had to use a couple pieces of hose to shrink it down to fit nice and tight. You know, this reminds me of when I lived in England. The appliances in England had this giant plug-ins on the end. But anyway, it works. Plugs into all my welder extension cords. No big deal. Just reminds me of England. Okay. Turn it around so I can see on the screen. I prepped a couple pieces of 18 gauge, buffed them lightly and wiped them down. So good connection. Where are my glasses? This thing can spark a bit. And I polished these down a little bit to give them a wider face. Several people have recommended that, to give a wider spot weld, because it does give a really small spot weld. It seems to be a good tight one, but really small, so I may have to modify them a little bit more. But anyway, see how it does. Well, there you go. Pretty good looking spot weld. Probably a little bit too long maybe on the timing. I noticed when they were smaller, it was spot weld within a second or two. Wider takes a little bit more time. I also had to file them at a slight angle because this doesn't come straight down. And the spot welds were reflecting that they were more pronounced on one side than the other. And these ones are looking better. So by filing those at a slight angle so they meet squarely, looks like a better spot weld. And boy, I tell you what, it heats the plates up. This just cools down for, well, I grab it further down here, I guess. I'm gonna try to pry it apart, the ultimate test. See how good it really is. I guess the ultimate test. Now let's put it in the vise thing. So far looking really good, but I want to give it even more torture. Get a bigger pair of pliers. Man. Yeah. Finally failed, but ripped the chunk clean out. That's about as good as it gets in a nice size. So I'll practice with it some more to make sure I do a good job. I don't have anything to really, well, maybe the inner fender wells on the car when I'm working on them. But I think I agree with some of the guys. The 240 volt one is a little bit better, more power. And of course, most of us who have welders, well, I don't know, I can't say that anymore. All these new welders are 110 powered. Mine's old school. Mine's I'm sure you've seen it in some of the videos over there. It's Palcon. Palcon is the grandpa of all inverter welders ever made. That's the first, and I bought it brand new in the 70s, late 70s, and back then I spent over $2,000 on it. It was an expensive, majorly expensive unit, but I knew that was what was up and coming. So I guess I can say one time I was on the cutting edge of something, but that welder is still a great welder. No reason to ever change. It does everything I ever wanted it to do, and it's also got a duty cycle that most welders, especially the 110 ones, do not have. That welder at max power, 200 amps, only drops to 80% duty cycle, 100% duty cycle elsewhere. So that's a sturdy unit. You know, this little spot welder, it's only 50% duty cycle. So yeah, you can't really just absolutely continually spot weld with it. You have to give it a very short break. Not much, but probably just wrestling the thing around and doing spot welds, you're probably going to give it enough brake. You're probably going to need a brake before it does. So at least I do. But I'm happy with my purchase, at least at this point. So my review, anyway, is very favorable at this point. I've only used it just a little bit, but not for the price. I know a lot of guys are making these, and I was thinking about making one, but for under 150 bucks, the tongs, now you can get different tongs, but boy, you're going to spend a lot for those copper tongs. I would like to have a longer set to get a little more reach, but you're probably going to spend almost $200 just for the tongs, more than the spot welder cost. So I don't know, I'll see as I progress what I'll do about that. But this time, that's my review, and I'm going to have to head back out on the road here. I have an ulcer on the bottom of my foot formed, and so now I got to wait for a while. I got to go to the doctor and have that looked at. I hate being old. But anyway, I'll make up a video.